Well, it's a big sunny, warm welcome here to Saint-Jean-d'Angely here in France, and there we are, the southwest region, the Cognac region of France. What a beautiful area it is as well. Here's the circuit of Puy-de-Poussay, length 1,955 metres. Let's join the Italian team, the reigning national champions, as they take us for a tour around. Well, indeed, it is a glorious day here at Saint-Jean-d'Angely, and of course the French flags were out in style. We caught up with the French team of Stefan Roncada, Sebastian Tortelli and Freddie Bolle, and asked them what plan they had for the weekend.
Just race maybe, but I know there is a mini, take a good start and keep smooth. Think just about the race, just about riding.
It's always good to come back to France and race again. You know, last 2 years I haven't been racing over in Europe and in France for outdoors, so that's always great and feel good. I mean, the track is wonderful and the crowd is very good, so everything's going well.
Pastrana beat you in America. Are you out for revenge today?
Yeah, I told him last week that today was revenge time, so I'm pretty pumped about it, and it should be a good race. So hopefully I can get a good start, and we'll have a good battle all the way through tomorrow.
The English team of Carl Nunn, Paul Cooper and of course James Dobb. Dobb on a 500. How did he fancy his chances?
It's difficult I've been thrown in at the deep end, but hopefully I don't want to let the country down. It means a lot to me, so I'm going to keep fighting and I'm going to do the best I can.
You know, I've been off for a while with a dislocated elbow, but this is sort of my 5th race back, so I've been riding over a month now, so I should hope I'm up to scratch now.
I was really pleased to be on the team this year. I've been wanting to be on for the last few years, obviously. So yeah, I'm really happy and hopefully put in a good performance.
What do you think of the track here?
It's not the best track for me, but I mean, it's the same for everybody. You know, I think it's going to be quite rough. It's going to be quite technical because a lot of the ground's moved and it's quite stony underneath. So, I mean, it should be good for a thinking rider.
Belgium team of Caps, Bevorts and of course Smets. Smets with that injury. Could they lift the nation's trophy?
Now it's a little bit difficult to say, but before, like 1 week ago, I thought like we really had a good chance to fight for first place. But after my injury, I feel a little bit sorry for the rest of the team, because to me it looks like everybody's really pretty pumped and pretty motivated, and so was I, but it's a little bit difficult, but I still don't want to give up.
South Africa with its strongest team ever at the Nations, with new World 125 champion Grant Langston, have their chance of a top 3.
I would really love to win. I think maybe it's possibly the last time for maybe a couple of years South Africa will have such a good team with Greg retiring. So I think if we could have a good result today, maybe get on the podium, something would be great for the team and great for everyone. So World Championship went real good. I'm happy to win it, and I think it would really finish with a good season to have a good Nations result.
Former world and US champion Greg ALBERTYN, was this his last Nations appearance?
No, I've got one more race, the US Open, and I'm going to be doing a few Supercrosses in Europe, and December, that'll be my last race.
Strong favourites for this year. Did GP regular Ryan Hughes rate his team's chances?
I think they're good. You know, we have Ricky, who won the 250 championship, Travis, who won the 125, and myself, I have a lot of experience over here. I know the track, I raced it last year, and so, today proved that all 3 of us are strong. So I think we have the, if not the best chance to win.
First trip actually riding in Europe, so it's quite an experience. I mean, the whole thing, even from the food you eat to come out here with the crowds with the air horns, it's a different experience, but I'm glad to be here for the country.
I'm excited to race. I want to win really bad, and I know Rhino does, the whole team does. And I'm going to give it 110% and try to stay on 2 wheels. I think if we can stay up, we should be the winners.
For the reigning nation champions from Italy, could they retain the title?
It's difficult. I don't know now. We have to try, and tomorrow night we can see.
But for winner, it's very difficult because yes, it stay many good teams like France, Belgium, USA. But I don't know. We try.
Did the team manager think they could win again?
Last year was the first time we win the Motocross of the Nations. This year we try. It's not easy, sure, but we try to take again the cup.
Well, the Italians hosting next year's donation. Of course, they'd like to win again here today. Now they have to qualify first. Top 14 teams go through from the 3 qualifying heats. Then it's 3 teams from the last chance qualifier. Here's the action, some of the action from the 1-2-5 qualification. And boy, was this hot. The Americans, of course, out of the top 3 last year, they had to qualify. And their number 1 rider on the 1-2-5, Travis Pastrana, was out there in front. Langston was the man behind him on the 67 bike, making sure the American wasn't going to have this all his own way. The Langston, very strong, the newly crowned 1-2-5 world champion, was in hot pursuit of the American 1-2-5 champion. These two would be knocking bars together next year, and Pastrana in trouble occasionally, and very, very lucky to get away with this mistake, as he commented afterwards. But Langston, of course, seeing the American under pressure, decided it was time to apply a little bit more. And these two in front of this massive French crowd were going at it neck and neck, corner to corner, and elbow to elbow at times. But the American was not to be fazed. Probably just showing the South African what was in store for him next year when he came to the States to race. Now remember, the winning rider of each heat gets 1 point. The rider in second place gets 2 points. Of course, the lowest number of points scored by all the teams helped to qualify them through to the Nations Cup race on the Sunday. But the American had decided that the South African needed teaching a lesson. He went out in front, but Langston was having none of it. He came right back at him, but at the finish, it was the American, Travis Pastrana, who took the win and the 1 point. South Africa had 2. Now the 250 qualification, we were in for another barnstormer here as they headed down into that first corner. For America, it was on the Kawasaki, Ricky Carmichael, another US champion, the 250 champion for this year. Alongside Ricky, well, it was a whole host of regulars, and none other than Britain's Paul Cooper on the number 14 Husqvarna had decided to stamp his mark on this race. 1 point again for the winner, 2 points for second, and right down to last place, Carmichael, the American, was ensuring that his team was going to score the lowest with a little bit of shoulder pushing. Well, Cooper stayed there in second place. Let's have a look at it again. Carmichael showing Paul Cooper exactly what goes on in America when you want to win races. I did say this was a contact sport. Number 80 here, Gordon Crockard, another Grand Prix regular, was beginning to make up ground for the Irish team. Cooper was beginning to drop back. South African Greg Albertyn on the 250 was beginning to challenge Cooper and soon went through to reduce his team's deficit. Remember, Langston had finished second in race 1 in the 1-2-5s, so he had 2 points. Albertyn wanted to keep that restricted down to about 5 or 6. But Ricky Carmichael, twice with the losing American team over the last 2 years, was making sure that this time he was going to get it dead right. He took the checkered flag and just the 1 point, so that was 2 for the Americans. 68 here, Greg Albertyn. He came home in second place, so that was only 4 points for the South Africans. Now we moved on to the open class. This is a mixture of 250cc bikes and 500s and 4-strokes. And as you can see, as they got off the start, some of them didn't quite make it too cleanly. But again, this was to prove to be a very hectic qualifying race, because the man to look out for was American number 12. That was Ryan Hughes. Hughes, a regular Grand Prix contender, and the man that knew this track well. But the man in front of him, number 90, was Peter Johansson, the Swede. Darcy Lang there, the Canadian, out of the race. That wouldn't be a good start for his country. But Hughes trying to keep the American flag flying. Remember, the 2 Americans have won the 2 previous races. He was ensuring that they were going to go into tomorrow with just 3 points on their scorecard. The battles were on much further down the field between other countries. 33 there, Miska Ultanen chasing 75. Well, that, of course, was Daryl King. But James Dobb on that 4-stroke number 15, riding for the British team, was going great guns. And remember, Dobb finished second in the World 125 Series this year, so jumping onto a big 4-stroke 500 was completely a new experience, but it wasn't stopping the man. But neither was it stopping these two out in front, because Peter Johansson there on the 90 bike wasn't letting the American Ryan Hughes get away from him. The Japanese rider was back in third place. A great Japanese team over this year, but Hughes was in great form. Riding in the 250 Honda, he was on his way to keep his point score down to a minimum and keep America's just down to 3. They were surely a place for tomorrow in the Donations Cup. And in second spot, 90 Peter Johansson for Sweden. They were on course also to be on the grid for tomorrow. But after all the qualification was over, it was time to keep the crowd happy with some freestyle.
What's happening, everybody?
And that wasn't the only high-flying entertainment the French club had lined up. We also had the lovely pom-pom girls. And in case you're wondering, no, I didn't get any phone numbers of the pom-pom girls, much as I tried. Well, after all the race action for today was over, it was time to chill out as the sun went down here at Saint-Jean d'Angely. Well, you can see, time to get a bit of tucker, get something down inside you before you start to drink, and they did a lot of that here tonight. And in case you don't understand French, they're saying in come on the Americans. We'll be back after the break with more racing action. Welcome back here to France for another very sunny and warm day for the 2000 Motocross of Nations. And motocross indeed has gone a long way in the last 5 years due to one man, Giuseppe Longo. And we spoke to him and asked him how he felt about the year.
Yes, I'm very happy, and today it's really the closing of the season, and you see it's a marvelous season, because here it's all the season was great because it's the year of change. It's the history of motocross is change, and it's I'm very, very happy.
You talk about the changes. Of course, we have big changes for next year with Dorna, the road race organisation, are now involved with motocross, and we are looking to take motocross to a much higher plateau.
Yes, our idea is to bring motocross very, very high, like the major sport in the major motorsport, to bring completely live in television, the 3 class, and for sure with the worldwide coverage. This is our goal, but also to have a better circuit with all accommodation to receive the teams, the spectators, and everybody. What we bring up and what we really care very much is to have a great show, but also to find a good way for the fans. This is, for us, the fans is very, very important, and so we built a system what with cheap tickets to compare to all the other sports. We can give 3 days of great show for all the fans, and we give a great accommodation and many possibilities. We want to organize also the fact for fans from different countries to follow the Grand Prix, also to have a travel and trip. Maybe we want to make also some fidelity card for some. We really want to help all our fans, because now start to be a lot in the world, and we want more and more, and we want to help very much.
So your dream and all your hard work has now come true?
Yes, now they start. It was hard work up to now, but now they start much more harder, because we want still more. We want really the sport very high, and for this now they come true, but we don't stop. We just start.
And for here, the Motocross of Nations, we move on to the World Supercross?
Yes, we moved on to the World Supercross events in Stade de France, in Paris, in Torino in Italy, and in Leipzig in Germany. With all the top stars, we have the top 3 for American World Championship, or from Supercross World Championship of last year. So we have really all the biggest stars, and I think will be very interesting events. It's just 3. In future we want more. We are thinking a lot of changing also for Supercross in future, because we want to make a great combination between motocross and Supercross, but we work on, and I believe also there we will have results.
So with Action Group and Dorna, big plans for the future of motocross, but this is it for the Brits, the last chance to make sure they get into this afternoon's Motocross of Nations 3 races. All 3 riders in this last chance qualifier. Dobb, none on the 125, and of course Paul Cooper on the 250, Dobb on that 500. 2 teams have been sent home. They didn't score, well, they scored too many points, we should say, yesterday in qualifying to even make it this far, but there's a few on the floor already. Can't see who they are, but Dobb, it looks like, on the 15 bike that has got out in front. Yes, indeed. Dobb leads, Cooper's 3rd. Tremendous result for the British team so far. Dobb very unhappy with yesterday. He said himself that he felt he'd let the country down. They're certainly making amends for it now. There's Paul Cooper on the 14 bike. So Great Britain at the moment, 3 points. Portugal, Switzerland also there as well in 3rd, so they are. Norway, Slovenia and Estonia, top 6 at the moment. Remember, 3 teams go through to join the other 17 for this afternoon's 3 donation races. And Cooper's got a problem. Cooper's got a problem. That could be a fuel problem of some kind. Dobb is still out there in front on the big 500 KTM 4-stroke. Considering this man normally rides 125 bikes, this is a tremendous leap from one category to another. But there is Carl Nunn, number 13. Cooper got going again. Thankfully, Cooper got going again. So there you are. Cooper finished 3rd. Dobb finished on top of the podium. Well, the British team are through to this afternoon's races.
Difficult weekend for you because yesterday you didn't qualify straight for the main Motocross of Nations. So it means you have one more race than the other guys.
Yeah. I've had a cold for a week or so now, and it's just I'm really tired with that also. So that 500 beat the hell out of me, but I just had to keep pushing. I mean, I even though it was bad luck, I felt we let the English people down yesterday, and they're fantastic supporters. So I just had to keep pushing. And also Jack Bernicle back in the studio. He never talks good stuff about me, so maybe I did good for you this time, Jack.
Well, the message there for Jack at Eurosport. Well, the girls are back. Someone pass me a paper and pencil, please. I'd just like to get her phone number. Oh, God, these were lovely ladies. They really did have the crowd on their feet. Well, Luigi Sigurd out, sharing the 4+4 with another bunch of lovely young ladies. As we wait for the first race to come down to the line, 125 and open class. There are Traversini, Bartolini, Roncada, Bolle, Cap, Smets and Pastrana. Top 7 then going down onto the line, followed by Hughes, Langston, Ryan Hunt, Javella, Johansson, Dorsch and Eckenbach, top 14. As we look further down the list, the New Zealanders there, King and Brian. Adam Lyons at the bottom of that group. Trevor Cubitt also for Ireland there as well. Altonen, Vevelanum from Finland. Matt Klinger, of course, for Austria, 28. And well, there's Carl Nunn, 35th place on the grid on the 125. And he'll be joined, of course, by the man on the 500. That will be the KTM 4-stroke, James Dobb. There is Dobb, 36th pick of the gate. So as we wait for the gate to drop then on heat 1 of this 2000 Motocross of Nations. Remember, 125cc versus the open class. This is made up of 500s and 250s, 4-strokes of course, 520s, Yamahas 426s. So here we go. 1 point for the win, 2 points for second, and so on and so on and so on. It's the lowest point scorers that go through as the nation's leaders as they get into that first corner. This is hectic. The dust will settle, no doubt. Let's hope everybody stayed on that. Looks like Bartolini, the Italian, that has got the whole shot. Remember, the Italians are the holders of the Donations Cup. And they host next year's Donations Series. Oh, the American Pastrana on the floor. The 125 rider is on the floor. This is not good. Oh, we've got another problem here. They're all falling over each other. Roncada there, number 4, on the 125 caught up. And Dobb having a tremendous ride. Dobb on the 500. The big 4-stroke KTM, and also number 3, that's the British rider Carl Nunn, leaping over the fence. I don't know if he managed to get over that side of it. He's got his bike. Somebody else is wandering around with looks like an injured arm. I think that may be one of his bikes left lying on the floor. But it's Johansson, Dobb, Bartolini, Garcia, Eckenbach, and Hughes is in 6th place. So America have got one rider in the top 6, and Pastrana way down at the back. So, here comes Dob. Dob's having a look. Dob's having a look. He's going through. Showing no mercy to the 500 regular. Penny Johansson, who was second in the world last year, has dropped to third for next year. Oh, and look at Hughes. Oh, so lucky to save that. Well, we saw Pastrana do the same on the 125. These Americans have come here, I think, blessed today. But Great Britain having to qualify in the last chance race. And oh, look at this. This is Bolle. Bolle on the 500. Well, it's on the 250 Honda, but right in the open class, he's out. You saw the blood on his jersey. I think he's had a rock in the face. But just look at James Dobb. Johansson behind him. James Dobb. Remember, we keep saying it. He normally rides 125s. He's jumped onto this big four-stroke. And it's going great guns. And Hughes is up to third. Bartolini to fourth. Garcia is in fifth place. Oh, Eckenbach still down there in sixth. So England at the moment on 1 point. Sweden on 2, America on 3, and Dobb riding. And let's have a look at this now. We've got a pass on here because that was Hughes on Bartolini. Oh, and out goes Smets. Smets in trouble. The Belgium, he's got all sorts of problems this weekend. He injured his arm last week in the last Grand Prix in Switzerland. He's had all sorts of infection problems all week. Here's Langston, 67 from South Africa. His teammate Ryan Hunt on the 69 bike somewhere around the track at the moment. Well, Langston, of course, the World 125 champion. Here's Pascal to talk to Joel Smets.
Joel, we can imagine that it's terrible for you to stop in this first race.
I don't know what to say. I feel so bad. And I just realized I wasn't ready. I just wasn't ready for this race. That week has been so difficult for me. I've taken so many medicaments and stuff and to get ready for this race, but physically maybe I could have done it, but mentally I was completely, because I knew it was gonna be hard, and shit, this is one of the worst experiences of my career.
Well, Smets, of course, on the 97 winning team with Everts and Bevorts. He will not be happy about that at all. So here is a battle then for 11th place from Ricardo Capps and Pastrana. And remember, Pastrana, the American, on the floor in the first turn. He's come from right at the back and he's about to demote someone down another position. So the American clawing back the difference. Remember, the lower they finish in the order, the more points they score. He's right behind number 4, Stefan Rancada, the host nation here, France. But here's Dobb on the number 15 KTM 4-stroke, James Dobb, the Brit. Well, they've certainly made up for the disappointments that they had on qualifying on Saturday here at the moment. Hughes is back there in third place, chasing Peter Johansson. 1 point for a win, 2 points for second, 3 for third. It's important that Hughes gets up there, and Hughes has, straight past the Swede. Hughes on the 250 Honda against the big 4-stroke of Johansson's. So it's all up to Pastrana now to try and claw his way back up the order to reduce that amount of points. There is, of course, number 3, André Bartolini, the former world 500cc champion, or the Open champion, as we really should call him. And he's in amongst that group, so Hughes hasn't got away yet. Johansson's still there with him. There's Dobb, and look at that. Hughes is right behind him now in second place, and Dobb looks over his shoulder. I can only imagine that James Dobb is beginning to tire. After jumping off a 125 onto a 500 4-stroke, it's got to be hard work for the lad. Oh, has he got a problem with that bike? Not normal for a KTM to break down, but it can happen, and usually at the very worst time, like about now when you're leading the first race in the Motocross of Nations. So Dobb still has it, but Hughes is right behind him and closing in, and so is Bartolini, the Italian. So here we come as they drop down to the bottom side of the track for the very last time, up towards that left-hander. And Dobb's stopping. The bike has quit, but he's still going to make second place. The bike has stopped, I think. He may have seized, he may have run out of fuel, I don't know, but something went wrong there. Bartolini looks at him as if to say, well, what happened? But Hughes doesn't care, he's celebrating. That's 1 point for America. from Hughes anyway. It's all down to Pastrana. Let's have a look at it now. Dobb goes wide. I think the bike stopped. I think it may have seized it. It could not have run out of fuel. It's definitely some sort of electrical or mechanical problem, but Hughes is celebrating. So he should. Dobb, well, upset. Here's Pascal talking to race 1 winner.
Ryan, before the race, maybe many people were thinking that you were the worst, not the best rider for the team US, but you proved that you can win this race. It's a great race.
Yeah, you know I can. I perform under pressure, and I have a lot of pressure today. But I just tried to ride real smooth and fast, and everything came together. So I'm very happy.
What about this race? You were thinking it was possible to win till the last moment?
I didn't know. I thought Dobb was pretty far away, and then the last 2 laps I closed up. I said, oh shoot, maybe I can catch him and beat him. But I was just trying to ride a smooth, consistent race.
Well, smooth and consistent, certainly what he rode. So the USA 11 points then, and Italy, Great Britain, Australia, Germany, Spain and South Africa at the moment making up the top 7. Look at the points difference between 4th and 7th, just a couple. So all to race for in the next race. Finland then and Japan there, 9th, Czech Republic, Austria, Portugal, Denmark and Latvia. And you'll notice they've spelt it Japan. I'm sure our graphics man here today is having a bit of a celebration. Croatia, Ireland, Sweden, France, Belgium and New Zealand, 20th place. Okay, so we're coming back after the break with the 125 and 250 race. Whatever you do, don't leave the room. Welcome back here to the 2000 Nations here in France, and indeed the temperature is going up dramatically. Some of the lads here today think all their Christmases have come at once. I know I have. Oh, wonderful stuff. Well, Heat 2 coming down onto the line. Here's a look at the current standings after the first race. The USA 11 points, Italy 15, Great Britain 20, Spain, South Africa and Finland there. All in with a chance of winning this Motocross of the Nations. Here's Pascal with Travis Pastrana.
You did a very great race in the first moto. You had a crash at the start, but you came back in and it was crazy.
Yeah, I couldn't ask for anything better. I mean, you can hear the crowd just going nuts. Ended up, I crashed in the start, coming out with the 500s was really tough on a 125, but came back through and ended up, I passed the French guy and ended up second in the 125, so hopefully put in a little bit better ride this time.
This is your first race in Europe, what's your feeling?
It's so fast, out of control, wide open, and I love it.
What's about the US team? He has good chances for the win.
The US team is really strong coming in this year. No one really took it seriously, and I think we're, after the first race, we're still in it. So French is really strong, and everybody is doing great. So hopefully we can just have some consistent rides now.
Good luck.
Thank you.
France, the host nation, not having the best of the nations at the moment. So there's the start list. Traversini, Federici, Roncada, Tortelli, Caps, Bavorts, and of course Pastrana. Carmichael then, Ricky Carmichael, Grant Langston, Albertyn, Javela, Carlson, Dorsch and Jasinski. And the two Japanese riders there. Shane King, back from America, Josh Coppins, and the Australian there, Andrew McFarlane. Crockard for Ireland, looking further down, Vevelainen, Kovalainen. So they've all got it to ride for. Carl Nunn on the 125, got to go out and do it again. He had a terrible first race. We'll dearly like to put that right in race 2. Cooper there on the 250, number 14. So, as we wait for the riders to get off the gate then for Heat 2 of this 2000 Nations. Remember, 1 point for the win, 2 points for second. At the moment, the Americans are leading. They've won this Nations 13 times, consecutive times, starting in 1981 in Germany. They were beaten for the first time, well, when was it now? I think back now, 1994, and it was by the British team. Consisted of Kurt Nickel and Rob Herring, and of course Paul Malin, but here they come, and it's the American that's got the whole shot. Number 11, Ricky Carmichael on the Kawasaki, has stormed away in the front. What can the rest do? That's the question we have to ask ourselves. It's Carmichael then, he has been on the losing side twice already for America. I think he's come here this year with only one thing on his mind, and that's to go home a winner. And at the moment, the Americans are out in front as far as points. And in this race is concerned, they're also out in front. Now, Cooper, I think, is back there in about third. Oh, we've got another problem here for some other riders. Let's have another look at that start again. There is Carmichael on the 250, leading all over number 2. Claudio Federici, the Italian, and Carmichael. And look at Cooper, number 14 around the outside with Carmichael. And number 8, well, that's Monique Bevort's riding a 250 for Belgium. Now, you know Bevort's second in the World 500cc Motocross Championship for this year on a 250. Well, he scored many second places. Oh, he was almost off then. So Bevort's pushing it to the limit, trying to catch the American. Carmichael looks over his shoulder. There's the Italian, Claudio Federici. The current holders of the Nations Cup. They're still in with a chance, so Carmichael, Monique Bevort's for Belgium. Third place, oh, it's Tortelli for France. Sebastian Tortelli, the former 125 and 250 world champion. Somebody's on the floor, and I think that's Joachim Karlsson, the Swede. It is indeed Karlsson. Well, let's hope he gets up again. Yeah, confirmed they're 89. So Karlsson not having the best of the nation. Bevort, Tortelli closing in on him. Sebastian Tortelli, remember, Frédéric Bollé, the world 250 champion for France, has gone out in race 1 with a broken nose, incidentally. He got a rock in his face, it's broken his nose. He may come out in the last race. Let's hope he does. He is riding in the open class. The Tortelli and Bollé swap places. Tortelli was intending to ride the open class. Bollé decided to change, and that's Josh Coppins. Joshua Coppins for New Zealand, number 74, on the floor. Coppins, remember, finishing 4th in this year's 250 World Series. Had a big crash last week in Switzerland, was very lucky to get away from it. Let's have a look at it again. Gets around, bike gets away from him, goes, the front wheel goes over the berm, tosses him off, but that was a lot less of a crash than he had last week in Switzerland. Believe you me, that looked like Cooper just going past him. Here's Carmichael, the American, keeping their points deficit down to 1. It's just a question of what the 125 rider, Travis Pastrana, can do. Here's Pascal with Frédéric Bollé's osteopath. Tell us about the injury.
Jean-Fred was retiring in the first race. What happened?
He received a big stone in the nose, and it's broken. And I fixed the nose, and now he's resting, and I think he will start for the third moto.
You think it's possible to do one race with a broken nose?
In Motocross of Nations, it's possible, yes. Yes, because the motivation is really, really good.
So there's the standings at the moment. The USA 23 points, Italy, Japan, or we should say Japan, Great Britain dropping to 4th, South Africa and Finland, France, a lot to do, and this man is doing a lot for them. Sebastian Tortelli, the crowd are going wild. Bollé will be out to race in the third and final encounter, despite that broken nose. So number 4 here, Stefan Roncada, the second of the French riders, trying desperately to claw back an advantage. He's right behind the Japanese rider Narita at the moment. I should imagine he'll pass him. Japan have fielded quite a good squad this year, despite the fact that none of them actually speak any English. So Carmichael, Tortelli, Bevorts, Cooper is 4th, Federici and Coppins, those are the top 6 at the moment. So the Japanese rider about to get the treatment from the man behind. Here it comes. Roncada goes through. Crockard for Ireland is in 8th place. ALBERTYN for South Africa in 11th. So Roncada moves up 1. The Japanese rider, Narita, drops down 1. But you have to be fair, Japan isn't a particular nation that you would expect to field world-class motocross riders, but they are getting stronger. That's the move that took Roncada through. And there is Pastrana. So 28 points to the USA if they stay as they are. Italy, Japan, Great Britain, South Africa and Finland. So it's very tight for that second position between Italy, Japan and England. Any one of those 3 can take second spot, with the Americans dominating. Langston for South Africa, 11th at the moment. So Grant Langston, the current 125 world champion, going to America next year to race, for the next 2 years that is. There's Albertyn, a young man from South Africa, did just that. He went to America and became a US champion, but he's about to retire. So we'll miss you, Albie. A great character and a great personality in the sport. So for South Africa, fielding probably the strongest team this year. Who will they look towards for next year to replace Albertyn? Carmichael for the Americans, out in front. There's the standings once again. Great Britain have now moved up into third position, 48 points. South Africa with 49. Japan has dropped to fifth, but Finland are still there in sixth place, but the US are still topping the table. And if they continue to ride like this, I see no reason whatsoever that they will take the Nations Cup once again after an absence of some years, since 1994. 93 the last one. Britain took it off them in 94. And they haven't been happy about it since, believe you me. They've come here with a vengeance. The great Jeremy McGrath tried to win it for them a couple of years back and didn't succeed. But Ricky Carmichael, part of that losing team for 2 years, has come here today to say, let's reverse that. America wishes to rule and take the trophy back home where they think it belongs. Well, we'll soon see about that. The French, I think, are out of it, to the disappointment, but Carmichael takes the win then in Heat 2, the 251-25 heat. Sébastien Tortelli for France regains some honour for his nation, comes home in second place. Just 2 points. So for America, it's looking very good.
A very great race, maybe one of the best you did this season, no?
Yeah, it felt good. I got a hole shot, and on this kind of track, a hole shot is very important because it's hard to pass. And I rode a good race. Sébastien was riding very good. He was staying pretty close. He was riding very hard and making me ride hard. So it was a good race, just like at the States. It's me and him all the time.
Had you a lot of pressure before this race because the last two Motocross of Nations you were unlucky?
Yeah, it was. I had a lot of bad luck, and I turned it around this moto, and it makes all my Motocross of Nations trips well worth it, this moto.
So in actual fact, the Americans did win it in 96 in Spain, but there they are at the moment, 27 points. Italy 42, Great Britain 48, South Africa, Japan, Finland and the Czech Republic. So I think it's all about second place at the moment between Italy and Great Britain. Portugal, Denmark, Austria, Latvia, Croatia, France down in 13th place, and Belgium in 14th place with 31 points with just one race to go. They have it all to do, and Smets will be out in that last race. Australia, Germany, Spain, Ireland, New Zealand and Sweden in 20th place at the moment. Well, the excitement's building. We'll be back after the break with the final encounter. So welcome back then to Saint-Jean-d'Angely here in France for this final race of the 2000 Motocross of Nations. USA 27 points, Italy, Great Britain and South Africa, Japan and Finland in the top six. Well, it's really a battle about second and third, I think, at the moment. Claudio Federici for the Italians, Bartolini for the Italians, Tortelli, Bolle is out for the French, Prevorts and Smets for Belgium. Hughes is out there for America. Of course, the number 11 machine of Ricky Carmichael, the winner of the previous race, is out there as well. Coppins, King and McFarlane out there for New Zealand and Australia. Crockard for Ireland. It really is a star-studded cast here at the Motocross of Nations. The best riders from each nation from around the world gather here for this weekend to try and lift that prestigious trophy. Cooper, Paul Cooper, will do battle in this race along with James Dobb on that 500 KTM once again, that four-stroke. So 40 riders on the line. It's all about second place. There's Bolle, you can see a plastered up nose. This is going to be very painful for the young man, the new World Tour champion. He regained his championship from last year. He did it in Luxembourg. Heat 3 then, 250 in open class. Some of these riders will be on 250s, some will be on 500s, two strokes, 426 four strokes. Here they go into that first corner. Oh, it's a bit of carnage going down into it already, but I think they've all survived it through. That looks like Bartolini's got the lead. Carmichael is there behind him. There's Hughes. So the Americans at the moment well placed to take this. only real disaster will prevent the Americans from lifting the trophy again since 1996. They did it then. The team consisted of Emig, McGrath and Lanson. Let's have another look at that start. Well, look at André Bartolini leaning all over Frederic Bolle and then carving up Ricky Carmichael. So, and look at Dobb around the outside. James Dobb, Bavort's on the inside of him, then Carmichael. And Dobby giving Bavort's a bit of a push going out the corner. Carmichael then from Bartolini, from Bavort's top three. Then it's Darrell King, James Dobb and Paul Cooper. So the Brits looking good at the moment for a possible second place on the podium. So there is Marnik Bavort's. Around the outside of him goes the French rider, Sebastian Tortelli, number 5. And Tortelli trying to hold his head up here at the moment. His nation, who are hosting this Motocross of Nations this year, and what a fantastic job they've done of it. The circuit here is incredible. There'll be a triple header here next year. I'm looking forward to it. They've done so much work. This is an example of what motocross circuit should be like, believe you me. Very few can equal this around the country. Oh, Bavort's there, loses out to Tortelli. Tortelli passes him. Bavort's very nearly dumps it on the floor. Let's have a look at it again. Well, Tortelli got himself into trouble, and Bavort's followed suit. Somewhat in sympathy, maybe, probably not. So Belgium trying to claw their way back up the field. Italy trying to hang on to that second place. The man behind him at the moment is Sebastian Tortelli, the Frenchman, and he's going to go past the Italian if he can. There is Bolle, and I think he's going to retire. I'm not sure. He's cruising around, so the pain from that broken nose just too much for the world champion. And one must have sympathy for him because he won the world championship. He has gone out for France. He won it for himself, but he would love France to have won this year's Motocross of Nations, and it's all gone sadly wrong from the first race when he got that rock in the nose. Look at Carmichael, and he has now got number 5, Sebastian Tortelli, alongside him, and these two are banging bars and banging. Look at them, elbowing each other. Well, they've been doing this all this year in the United States of America. Carmichael looks back, well, he knows who it is. They've exchanged paintwork more than once this year in the American Supercross and Outdoor Series. But Carmichael doesn't have to win this. The Americans have enough lead, and they're coming back, and look at Carmichael. Oh, there you go. I can do it as well, he says. Take a sample of that. I don't think this will stop Sebastian Tortelli. He's on a roll. They may not win the Motocross of Nations, but maybe he can win the last race of the day. And the crowd here are going absolutely wild. Carmichael, Tortelli, Gordon Crockart up there in 9th place. Smets is in 11th, so he stayed out despite that arm injury. Belgium might yet pinch it at the last death, and look at Seb Tortelli. Carmichael trying to stand in front of him, and Tortelli, and well, look who's behind those two on the 426 Yamaha. It's the Italian, André Bartolini, and these two are at it at the front yet again. The crowd are going wild, listen to them. The USA, they're 18 points, 37 to Italy. Great Britain on a chance of a podium position if they could just stay where they are. There's Cooper, Paul Cooper, unaware of the action that's going on in front, and Dobb is down in 15th place. Dobb was up in the top 5, he's dropped down 10 places. If he just needs to pull through a couple more. And England could well get that third step. Ryan Hughes down in 5th place. Oh, Carmichael's 2nd. They're doing enough. That's all they need to do now to take the Nations Cup for 2000. It's going back across the pond to America. Marnik Bavort's 4th place. Joel Smets in 10th. This could be enough to put the Belgians on the step. Well, what a turnaround in this final race of the day at this Nations here at Saint-Jean-d'Angely. Incredible action. Well, the crowd, there must be 40,000 motocross craze fans here, blowing horns, waving. Ricky Carmichael, well, he says, well, I know you're in France, you can win the last race, I don't care, because we're still going to get the big cup. Italy, Belgium have gone to 3rd, Britain are down to 4th. Belgium have done it. Smets has dug deep once again. The Flemish Lion, the Iron Man of motocross, has dug deep. Despite his condition, he's managed to pull up a couple of places. Here comes the checkered flag. It's going to be Seb Tortelli that takes it for France. He finishes the Motocross of Nations style, but Carmichael doesn't care. Second's good enough. Hughes is going to come through in 5th place. It's America that's going to take the 2000 Nations Cup. Tortelli celebrates. The crowd have gone wild, and so you'd expect them to. So there you go. The USA 19 points. Italy, Belgium have beaten Great Britain to the 3rd step. South Africa, look at Japan. 6th place. Australia 7th. Finland, the Czech Republic, Germany, Ireland, Spain, Austria, and Portugal. Great ride from Ireland. Gordon Crockart, Adam Lyons, and Trevor Cubitt. Well, and look at France, 18th place, 20. Oh, it's just desperate luck for them. They were tipped to take it this year, had a very strong team, but it wasn't enough. Here's Pascal on the podium with the winner there of the last race of the 2000 Nations, Sebastian Tortelli.
Sebastian, you did a very great last race here.
Yeah, you know, I gave everything I had to win that race. You know, that was very important for me. You know, I would like to win one moto at least for the French nation. And I did everything. That was a great fight.
Clearly upset about the result. I think he was in tears then, but he still put a great ride in. So USA take the top step. Italy takes step 2. Belgium takes step 3. For the Americans and these young men, that being one of them, of course, the youngest of the group, Travis Pastrana, number 10 on the 125. His other two mates, Ricky Carmichael there in number 11, Kawasaki, the 250 bike. He won one race, he finished second in the other, but it was enough. And for Ryan Hughes, the GP regular on the 250, he did enough to support his two teammates, and America are going to take the Nations Cup back to where it's been 13 times before. And I think they deserve it. Roger DeCosta, the team manager, a great rider in his own time. Happy with that trophy back in his hand once again for America. Question is, can they keep it for next year? We'll have to wait and see. I'm sure Belgium and Italy will have something to say about that, but the French will be back in force in 2001. But it's not all over yet. Oh no, the Americans have got the cup. But after all the excitement of the Nations, the top teams went to a dinner hosted by Action Group International to present the top 3 in the world with their #1 plates and their trophies. Starting off with the 125 world champion South African Grant Langston. For Frederick Bolle, once again it was the 250 world crown. Cole Smets, once again he was the 500 world champion. Well, there you are, your top 3 in the world, 125, 250 and 500. But of course, here in France, you can't finish anything without the Can-Can. And we had the Can-Can girls here to give us a treat or two. And believe you me, we thoroughly enjoyed it. Well, it's been a great pleasure being with you all year. From myself, Kenny Kay, and all the production crew, we thank you for being with us, and we look forward to seeing you again next year. See you then.